Hey everybody, it's Steve. Welcome back. Today we're going to deal with a Bosch dishwasher. We're going to replace the rubberized toe kick material that goes at the bottom of the dishwasher. Mine is torn to shreds. It's supposed to be there to help dampen the sound, so if you're trying to enjoy a nice hot cup of joe while watching TV in your recently repaired recliner, you want it as quiet as possible. So hopefully this will help. Luckily, it's something that even I can do. All right, let's get started. You will need some tools. You'll need a standard Phillips screwdriver and then a Torx bit screwdriver, and this is a T20 bit. You'll need the part, of course. That is a 11050-210. That's the Bosch part number. You can get it on Amazon. I have a link. I got mine at partswarehouse.com. It's a bit cheaper. It's still overnight shipping. You're going to want to use eye protection and probably most importantly, gloves. Some of the materials you're going to be touching here could be hazardous, so just protect yourself. We're going to start off by turning off the power. I have a plug underneath the sink here. If you don't have that, you're going to want to shut off the power at the circuit. Also, you're going to turn off the water. I'm not sure how critical that is, but we're going to do it just because it is in the instructions. All right, the first thing we need to do is remove the toe kick. Now, this is my toe kick, and you can see the materials from the sound barrier are all over the place. They're just destroyed from over time. So we need to remove these screws. It's just a standard Phillips screw. So you can just use that and remove it. And there are two, one on the right there and then one on the left. Get them both and then it will pull away. All right, so as I pull away our toe kick, you can see that it's just totally thrashed. And it was being held on here by this pink duct tape. I don't know who put that on there. But that doesn't belong. That would not normally be there. So this is just the toe kick. We're going to set that aside for now. And then you can also see this piece, again, not attached to anything, would normally be part of this, all one piece. So definitely needed to be replaced, so let's get to it. Okay, let's get started. So there are 12 screws that hold the outer door to the inner door, and we need to remove those, and they are the Torx screws, so you will need your Torx screwdriver for this. There are two different size screws. Let me give you an overhead look here, and I will mark which ones are the short screws and which ones are just a little bit longer. And then what's going to happen when we release these screws is that the outer door will fall away. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this box, which is very conveniently the almost exact height that I need. I'm going to slide it underneath the dishwasher so that when I remove these screws, the bottom doesn't just fall away. So let's go ahead and start removing screws. Okay, we have most of our screws off. I just left the top two here. Now, what I've done here, if you can see, is I've wrapped a bungee cord around the dishwasher door. Alternatively, I have a clamp that's holding the two parts together. And that's because this is spring-loaded, so once I undo these two screws, it could pop up. It's just easier to maneuver if you have two people or if you're holding it together with something like this. Now you'll see I have a cloth here. I don't want to damage my stainless steel finish. These clamps do have a rubberized coating, so it should be okay, but just be extra careful on that. So let's go ahead and remove our final two screws. At this point, we removed all our screws, but it's still held together because we're using our clamps here. So what I need to do now is I need to remove the handle, which will give us access to the wiring housing. So we're going to tip it all the way up. And underneath here, you're going to see three Torx screws, and we're going to remove those. All right, let's go ahead and remove our screws. 1, 2, and 3. All right, now that we've removed the screws from the handle, we're ready to let the door fall apart. All right, so we're going to remove our clamps one at a time. Now remember, this is spring-loaded, so I'm still holding here. If I wasn't holding it, this thing is going to pop open like a jack-in-the-box. Remove this other one. Put that out of the way. And then we'll let the door close, and now the door will separate. So carefully let the door come away. And then you can see on the inside, there's wires here that are still holding it together. That's why we needed to remove the handle screws, because now we're going to lift this out. So we can just pull this up, straight up. And now this door comes away. And with this, we'll just set down carefully to the side so that the wires don't come loose. Just going to move this away. Now, depending on the state of your toe kick, ours was totally thrashed here, so it just stayed behind. But it might be attached to the door, just keep that in mind. All right, now you've noticed I've laid this down on some carpet. Stainless steel scratches very easily, so make sure you put it on something that's not going to damage the door. All right, now underneath this insulation is what's left of my rubber piece, and that's just held on there by double-sided tape. So we're just going to pull that away. We don't need this anymore, that's trash. And then here's our new one, and you can see the new one has this yellow strip on it. That's the sticky part. So we're going to pull that away, and then we're going to put it in here, lining it up with the way the old one was. So we'll just unstick this tape and then lay this down carefully where the old one was. All right, so that piece is ready to go. Now we can go back and install it on the dishwasher. All right, now we're ready to put our door back together, essentially here. So we're gonna tip this up and make sure that that rubber flap there is tucked underneath. And we'll just set that in the vicinity of our control panel. Grab your control panel, make sure that the lettering is face up towards you. And be careful not to unplug anything. If you do, it's no big deal. You can plug it back in. And then we're just going to drop this into place. Might have to cant it a little bit initially, and then it will just slide straight down, and it should be flush on all sides. All right, we're just going to prop this here for a second. We'll grab our 3 handle screws and come in underneath here and put those back in. Make sure you put them in straight. I always like to do the 2 outer ones first, and then if they're good, then the middle one should be good. All right, our handle is put back together, and now here comes sort of the trickiest part of all. We need to put this door back on, but in order to do that, we need to get access to the screw, so we're gonna have to open the door. So if this is shut, you're gonna have to reach in here to grab the handle and pull it forward a little bit. Remember, it's spring-loaded, so if you let go, it will snap back. So just pull it out just as much as you can. Keep this door, the real door, as close as you can, because there is one wire in there that easily pops out. The wire is really short. All right, so now we want to line this up with our screw holes. So you can see them here at the top. So we want those top screws to line up. And we're going to lift this up like this and grab it by the bottom and make sure that it is as close to lined up as possible. And then keeping pressure on the bottom and on the top, open the dishwasher all the way. And once it's to the bottom, you can add your clamps again and attach my clamp. And you want to look and make sure your screw holes are lined up and add the second clamp. I don't have my rag over here, but that's all right. Okay, so everything should be lined up. And we'll take our long screws and we're going to put them on the outside. Those are right here. Should be 12 screws all together. Okay, so there's our screws back in. Now you can remove your clamps, put the rag out of the way, and the dishwasher should open and close properly and freely here. All right, now our final step is to put our toe kick back on. Make sure that our new flap is in place. And that's going to go underneath here and go over top of our new rubber piece. So that just slides in here like this. Line up our 2 screw holes and we'll put our screws in. Okay, so that's our final 2 screws. Everything should be back the way it was originally. We will need to turn our power back on, so I'm going to go ahead and plug that in. And we need to turn our water back on, and then we'll give it a quick check. All right, we should be finished. Let's take a quick look here. We'll turn our power on. Okay, good. We have our power display light up. Now, if it doesn't light up, that means that you probably lost a connection as you were putting the door back on. It's likely the one that I showed you because that one's really short and all you need to do is pop it back into its slot. For that reason though, you might not want to put in every screw because now you're going to have to go back and undo them all and get in there. All right, so a couple other things. You notice I took out the inside of my dishwasher, all those trays. That wasn't necessary. We turned off the water. I really don't see a critical reason for that either. Obviously there's no water in play here. But the electricity, unplugging that from the wall, that was critical because there are wires in there that we could touch. All right, that is all I have. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please hit that like button. Please subscribe. Until next time, this has been Steve for Things That Even I Can Do.